Good morning, colleagues. Welcome to all my friends in Elpis, Friedrich, Boschko, everybody. Good to see you again. Glad to be back contributing, and I hope I can offer a little fun and a little very sober insight today into a topic that's hugely important to all of us. Let me just make sure that we are recording. Yes, we are recording, so that's good. I am not the world's greatest uh, user of this technology, but technology is what we're going to talk about today. Today, I come to you on the day of our independence, 250 years ago. It's a huge holiday, uh, not as big as Christmas, but maybe or Easter, but maybe the third most widely celebrated holiday in the United States. It's our summer day to go to the backyard, to cook out, to enjoy the family, uh, play baseball, football, whatever, and just go to the park. This morning, I was with about 200 people down on Main Street, where we had a children's bicycle parade with music and a fire truck leading the way, all reaching a park at the end with hot dogs and ice cream and water. And I can't think slushies, what else? But it's been a good start this morning, and now we're rolling into an afternoon street party, so we should be having a really good time. Um, I come to you uh, to tell you, of course, about the semi-quincentennial, the 250th anniversary of really what we call the birth of the United States. Um, it's this day in 1776, the U.S. Continental Congress officially adopted the Declaration of Independence, right? You know this story probably as well as others. Um, it was a dramatic war. It was a long war. It was a terrible war. Um, and uh, thanks to the help of France and Poland and some other people who contributed manpower as well as leadership to our effort, we were able to obtain our independence. Uh, it's an interesting thing as we look back at this in light of today's events. Much of the world is devolving into a new state that many of us don't, few of us understand, most of us misunderstand. As we look again at the Middle East, we look at Britain again and the EU. And America, the current American politics make it a um, difficult thing to assess. We all know that for sure. And um, we don't overlook America's shortcomings, for sure. But today is the day we put aside our culture wars and we go with just celebrating the aspirations and the good things about our country. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, right out of the Enlightenment, Thomas Jefferson, John Locke, Rousseau, uh, and many other of the Renaissance philosophers, Enlightenment philosophers. All men are created equal, no more kings, no matter what anybody says. That's a political cause now, but even before the present administration and after, we all agree that we have a system that works generally well. All men are created equal, endowed by their creator with certain inalienable or unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Excuse me, I've got to get all my technology working here. Okay. We do have culture wars in the United States. They're ugly. Uh, we have many different viewpoints about family, art, education, law, and politics. But today we take a truce, and we don't We don't worry so much about uh, our differences as we do about our common history. And that, of course, is a very good thing. Uh, if you go on the internet, you're going to see so many divisive things. Uh, but today, Americans are in the backyard overcoming these differences, at least for today, we think. It's interesting to watch the news. Uh, we're in the middle of the World Cup that's happening here in the Americas, and so many of the Europeans who come to the United States uh, are a little bit surprised. We get an awful lot of bad press. Much of it is deserved. I remember the criticisms, the disdain for McDonald's and all that. At the same time, fast food in America has evolved into some wonderful modifications and improvements. You can go to Chipotle, Chick-fil-A, any number of places where today you get pretty tasty food pretty quick and so reasonably priced in spite of all of the inflation recently. They're drinking American beer here, Budweiser. I presume that's a German recipe from centuries ago. Nonetheless, uh, they're here astonished about all that's going on in the United States. I think they make mention of the feature of many of our restaurants to have free refills. Uh, when you get a Coke or something, you get a free refill. Well, it's no big deal to us. And it's not free beer, it's free Cokes or water. Um, just the prevalence of water as a freebie is something else that impresses a lot of people from other countries. But uh, anyway, there's also a new phenomenon here that's kind of crazy. If you come and rent a car and head west, or even not that far west, but I see them here in Virginia. Uh, these things called Buckies. It's after a chipmunk. Is that what that is? Anyway, they are these giant gasoline stations with some 40 pumps, really 40 pumps for gasoline. And inside the store, you'll find it's about half the size of a Walmart with everything from food to, they claim, the cleanest, biggest bathrooms anywhere. And I think that it's true. But anyway, people are enjoying the United States in spite of, I know it's hot in Europe and in much of the world. It's hot here too. Uh, so before I go further, I'm Patrick Hugg, Professor Emeritus from Loyola University in New Orleans. I'm happy to be with you again. Uh, I'm now I'm emeritus, so I'm residing in the mountains of Western Virginia, the Blue Ridge, between the Blue Ridge and the Appalachians. So it's a lovely place. Come see us if you get a chance. We're happy to always have guests. So today we're going to talk about artificial intelligence beyond your wildest dreams. And I have to tell you, I have just this year become really familiar with artificial intelligence, and it is beyond my wildest dreams. It will talk to you with knowledge about anything you could possibly conjure up. Uh, my wife and I, she's doing a lot of gardening. The other night, we weren't sure about a particular fertilizer, so we go to Chat GPT. It gives us 2 pages of details about this fertilizer and when to use it and how to use it and not to use it until a certain time of day because you might hurt the bees or the butterflies that work their way through it. Uh, it's pretty incredible. If you want to know how to uh, how to take your medicine or what a particular medicine is supposed to be doing, Chat GPT or any of the other services will do it for you. And there's a pretty big competition for all these services. Uh, Gardening, as I mentioned, we use it for silly things like gardening. Should we water at this time of day or not? And it knows where we live. It knows what time of day it is. It knows everything. It's amazing. Anyway, if you want to book a flight to the United States, or if I want to book my flight over to Lisbon, let me check it out on this flight bot or any of them. Um, they're really effective. Uh, as with all things, they are machines. So we always, and I'll say this 10 times this morning, we always verify, we double check. Uh, anyway, it's revolutionary because it's going to cost a lot of people their jobs. This came up in a New York Times article this Sunday, uh, understanding the pitfalls of using AI at work. And it talks about companies, uh, managers at AI companies uh, may employ a lot of AT functions, a lot of artificial intelligence. Uh, and it turns out that this study says that it's so good and so well trusted that many managers don't check the work produced by AI. And that is a downfall of AI, of course. And the article is a typical New York Times article. It's quite thorough, it's quite nice. Um, in the end, it says, but be careful because it may take your job away from you. We know very well that AI is going to take away a lot of telephone operators' jobs. It makes us crazy when we can't get to a human. But so much of this is done straight by artificial intelligence, computers on steroids for sure. Um, it's something. The AI data centers uh, are a political and environmental issue for sure. They use a lot of electricity. They use a lot of water. Uh, Water is a serious need across the planet today. We've got 100 degrees today here in Virginia, and goodness knows what it is in France. Um, you know, anyway, big issue, data centers. Um, and here you can see their growth, top 10 countries, big deal. The US, of course, is grossly oversized because a lot of this function was designed in the United States. 5,400 data centers. Uh, Germany's second, then Britain just a little bit behind, then France and what, Australia. Uh, Political issue in itself, but they're generating so much computer activity. It's unavoidable. Okay. And this is, to be sure, ask chat or any of them if they are generative AI, and they will assure you, yes, they are. They can essentially process information, cross process, essentially thinking and solving problems that we um, love to have their help with. It's for sure. So AI and the law today is where we're going to spend our real thrust. Uh, as you would expect, the thesis here today, AI is going to revolutionize the practice of law and the teaching of law, the writing of law, and yet it is, as we know, red flags. It is not going to take into effect the human aspect, the human judgment, the human sensitivity to other issues that are very human and that are very important to us all today. So, how does it affect the legal practice? How does it affect recruiting clients, legal scholarship, teaching law? We're going to go into all of these at some length. Okay, all you have to do is go to this website, and that's where the inspiration for my theme, Beyond Your Wildest Dreams. You'll see that Harvey Legal AI can do so many things in the law practice. It's truly amazing. So how? Let me tell you, I will tell you coming right up. right? The most important way, of course, the most obvious way is legal research. Uh, we're in a common law system in the United States, a presidential system. It's horrifying how complicated it is to ascertain the current status of the law. You can't just find the most current statute. You have to see how it's interpreted by judicial decisions and judicial decisions in various jurisdictions. We have the most complicated federal system here in the United States of anywhere in the world. We've got a massive federal system, statutory and regulatory, and court cases from so many courts all across the country, complemented by 50 state concurrent jurisdictions where other law is interpreted, litigated, and decided. So it's very complicated. In my first job as a lawyer, I was assigned a big, massive project to research a potential lawsuit to upend a major principle in labor law. So I went to work for weeks on doing just what AI can do, assessing, the state of the law, the various jurisdictions, the trends, the great historical precedents, all of which can be done in the legal research area by AI. The AI can assess the overall status of law, summarize it for you. It can summarize court opinions, judicial decisions, locate relevant precedents, identify conflicting cases, and suggest other authorities. Okay? The lawyer still, of course, has to verify the results. Drafting documents. Let me back up. Let me just say so much is spent on legal research that can now is possible through AI. That is a massive step forward in itself. And it must be judged, assessed, and verified by the lawyer. Never any substitute. But hours and hours of assembly and screening is done by AI or can be done. Likewise, documents can be drafted. Oftentimes, the young associate or law clerk is told to go draft a contract, go draft a memo assessing the law, and so and so. This is done now by AI. Of course, there are a lot of jobs that are going to be transformed or lost. I know of one lawyer whose job title is legal assistant. This lawyer chose just to stay at this level, avoiding the responsibility of signing, verifying, and endorsing the pleadings that were being filed and the arguments that are being made. It's really it's an important thing. Okay, drafting documents, contracts, wills, leases. Yeah, that's AI can draft them. Employment agreements, legal briefs. I wrote a brief to the U.S. Supreme Court some years ago, and it took me weeks. Now I can get a draft of such a brief, and I'm sure half the time with AI. Client letters, these types of things are big. Now, there's another aspect of law that most of you understand, and that is in the litigation process, we have widespread mandatory discovery. If you sue me, I have a right to demand that you define your claim and you send me everything, all of the evidence and all of the law that supports your claim. In other words, we're going to slug this out in advance of a trial, a costly and lengthy trial, right? Well, AI, you know the role that it can play. It can identify relevant documents. It can make sure we're not leaving anything out. It can summarize it, all right? It can detect privileged information, organize the evidence, flag inconsistencies. It can suggest possible arguments arising from this. Wow. In another area, for contracts, it can quickly review, draft and review contracts. It can find unusual clauses, missing provisions, inconsistent language, renewal dates, liability risks. A review that used to take hours can now take a few minutes. Finally, for the ordinary citizen, before they come to your office, they can know what the law is on their particular topic. They can come in geared as never before to have a competent, rational discussion with you. No more bluffing and making up a bunch of lawyer talk just to justify a high cost. Okay. Uh, ordinary people can understand the legal terminology. They can prepare for their meetings. They can learn about court procedures. Revolutionary for sure. AI can also, this will blow your mind, can predict legal outcomes. Okay, it can tell you your likelihood of success with your facts and the law. It can predict settlement ranges of money, right? Typical time to get to a trial and the typical time of a trial. And it can also tell you Judge Smith's historical rulings. Is he ardently pro-plaintiff? Is he pro-defendant? Does he work hard and come to work often and move his cases, or the opposite? So AI can also help the clients in that they can determine what is customary as far as fees are concerned, fixed fees, contingent fees, hourly billing. So it increases transparency for clients. Now, problem with this was a 2023 case in which a judge imposed financial punishment on lawyers for using a brief filled with AI case citations that were entirely fictional. So throughout this presentation, there is no substitute for the lawyer doing the hard work. Well, the thoughtful work. You've got to read every word. You can't simply print out ream after ream of text without reading it, thinking it through, judging it, assessing it, and making sure it's real. When you sign your pleadings, you verify that you have done this and that they are plausible and that the law is accurate, or you'll be sanctioned and your client will be malpracticed, and that no one wants for sure. So the second area that we have to talk about is one that's not so pleasant, but that in the law firm, a lot of the lawyers are quite functionally competent. There's a special kind of lawyer, however, who's always at the top of the pay scale. And this is the beautifully termed rainmaker. This is the lawyer who is active in the community, who is a very skilled person in communication, and who recruits clients through previous decisions that are won, through good marketing, through good public contacts. Some lawyers attract clients. Without clients, law firms have no money. You must have the rainmaker. So this is how AI can help this person. Hang on. Here we go. Okay. You can use AI powered and enabled online sources. You can put on your firm's website 24/7 inquiry chat boxes where you can answer common questions, brag about your greatest victories. You can gather information from clients, set their appointments, communicate them, give them videos. schedule consultations, this kind of thing. Improving your online visibility with AI is good. You can identify topics people are searching for. You can use AI to draft blog posts and frequently answered questions. And AI can tell you about your existing public relations where you fall short. AI can send inquiry or client people emails, text messages, reminders about schedules in the appointment calendar. We all know now that in the medical profession, I'll get 2 or 3 text messages a day or two leading up to the very day when I check in online about my medical appointments. So that's very good. It can also, and we've seen this with the medical AI, they can answer routine questions before the first meeting, personalized communications based on that prospective client's need. So AI can also tell you whether this client or that client is a good fit for your firm's practice or jurisdiction. You can also use data in AI to see which marketing channels generate the most qualified leads, which types of cases are the most profitable, things of that nature. You can also check your reputation. AI can monitor your online reviews, put you in contact with the bad ones, alert you to needs in this particular area, and you can get AI to act as a critic for you. That's really cool. So anyway, that's that. Now, the next way that AI can help you is with legal research, scholarship. Okay? We know as scholars, I can recall writing articles where I spent weeks of reading and drafting, sourcing, making sure I used multiple sources to ensure credibility and authenticity and the status of various systems. So you can see AI would do so many of these things so well. AI can survey the legal literature, summarize hundreds of law review articles, identify major schools of thought, compare competing theories, highlight gaps in the existing literature, connect your scholarship and compare it, see how it works with other fields, economics, philosophy, political science, sociology, all this with AI, things that you might not really have time to get done. Comparative scholarship, as I mentioned, we have so many different jurisdictions in the United States. AI can do it for you. Federal law, state law, foreign legal systems, and historical legal doctrines. Working with massive data sets is AI's greatest strength. Remember, your AI research can cover and analyze thousands of judicial opinions, decades of legislation, agency regulations, congressional debates, briefs, and law review articles. It can identify changing judicial language, spotting trends, right? Citation, ideological trends, and doctrinal evolution. It's very, very important. It's important too in legal writing, but this is very difficult. Many people come to law school with inadequate training in writing, and your AI can offer transitions, can not just I remember when spell check was such a big deal. Well, now you have writing check. It can offer summaries, introductory sentences, transitions. AI will do all of these things. It will tailor your writing to a specific audience. And after you're through, it can turn some of this into a law review article for you. So we see this in the law practice, in the way we practice law, the way we recruit clients, and in legal scholarship, the way we profess. Uh, all of this, of course, comes with the big caution. You've got to sign it. You've got to uh, make sure it's accurate. You've got to read it. All those thousands of words, you have to read them. I have, since I've been teaching law and done some practice and some advising on the side, found more than a few lawyers who are really busy and they don't read everything. They want to get a law clerk to read it or someone else. This is very questionable, dangerous, right? You got to be careful, thorough, and cautious. Got to be accurate. You've got to be honest. And most importantly, thinking of your client, right? Professional judgment, expertise. The case, you may be able to win the case, but the cost and emotional damage might be not worth it. There's so many things that a lawyer does in delivering personal advising to clients, not just legal advice, but advice about the mechanics of lawsuits, challenging uh, positions, legal positions in so many areas. So, with that in mind, embrace AI. You can't help it. You have to do it. But you've got to also be careful and not tell your client that you're going to be able to do this in 1 hour. You've got a lot of reading to do, a lot of screening, exercising your judgment. And with that, um, you're going to really enjoy AI and this huge revolution that it's bringing upon us. Thank you.